But the mommy is yelling no, and the daddy is chosen to go. But her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through a sunken dream to the seats with the clearest view. Then she's hooked to the silver screen. Is there life on
Well, good evening and welcome to our studio set live here in the desert in Boca Chica in Texas, as I believe it is. I don't know if you can see us. We're actually, believe it or not, you can't make this stuff up. We are coming at you live and direct just at the moment on a cardboard rig. Don't know if we can zoom in on, can we zoom in a little bit closer on that? We've got the power to, we can zoom in. Our drone's got zoom. We've got the expensive drone. That's fantastic. Pretty pleased with that. We, are over the moon with excitement of what we've got going on here tonight, because we have witnessed today the most incredible things. SpaceX's Starship 25 took off, and we are here to recap. We know that the world and his brother would have been watching live. We didn't want to crash the SpaceX channel. Obviously, Elon Musk's got to get a bit of revenue in on X or Twitter, whatever he calls it these days. So yeah, and we can get a bit closer. Can we get a bit closer? I mean, we've come a long way for this. I'm here with Felix. Felix, are you receiving me over there, Felix? How are you doing? You've joined me.
Hi Nick, thank you so much for getting this set up. Can't wait to recap.
Let's can we cut to another camera? This is all a bit. Let's we don't. What do you think of our cardboard rig here, Felix? You enjoying being out on this desert? A bit breezy up here, isn't it? You enjoying yourself?
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, good view of Boca Chica and everything.
I think I should probably explain to everybody actually why we have got a cardboard rig. It's not an oil rig. Oil is part of the Industrial Revolution. We say that our art is the oil. Our art is the coal of the creativity revolution. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. And we've had a fantastic year this year. Hashtag creativity23. That's what we've been talking about. And that's what we've been doing all summer. In fact, Felix, you were part of that this summer with us, weren't you? You came down to a couple of festivals with your dad, didn't you? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was amazing being able to come down and see you. We got an interview as well in which we should be putting out soon.
Oh, that's right. You interviewed me, didn't you? That was right. Yeah. What sort of what do you what? Well, you came to a festival once, and you actually came back for more, which I was quite pleased about as well. Actually, what did you think of the sort of crazy antics and what it is we're kind of generally up to here?
Yeah, it was amazing. That's why I came back. You know, being able to we made paper model rockets with all the kids. Getting the parents in to help as well. That's why I came back for more. It was amazing. Kind of the energy of Steamco is amazing.
Well, you did come back actually. You came back. Which Camp Bester you came to first of all, wasn't it? Yeah. And then, in fact, I'm going to see if I can't pull a little bit of footage of that up actually, because then I mean, this is all as ever a little bit seat of pants. We're sort of playing with a little bit here, but yeah, I think I have got some footage. Actually, you helped us make a sea monster once, didn't you? I think you actually helped us.
I think it was.
That's right. Yeah, here we go. Here's our sea monster and Starship 22, our cardboard Starship 22 landing on Starship. On our sea monster. That's in a school in Cornwall actually, and we actually built our sea monster with kids all through the summer using bits of cardboard we blagged from a very famous Swedish furniture chain and a few elephant toilet rolls. And here it is at Lakefest, where we actually launched Starship during the festival. The people weren't terribly interested. You think they'd have been a bit more excited watching that. There we are. That was when you came to down in Devon, wasn't it actually? Felix, you came to the Gone Wild Festival with us, didn't you? We had a pretty good time down there. So would you recommend running away with the circus to people like yourself and coming on this Steamco kind of mission? Would you recommend that to people?
Definitely, yeah. There's lots of energy, lots of things to do. Like you said, creativity.
It was good fun. So tell everybody just briefly about yourself, and because you mentioned we did a few talks, didn't we? Tell everybody why you're here and what you do and what's so special about your work on the web.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Felix. I'm 15 years old, and I'm the host of an educational YouTube channel where I interview valued members of the space community and space industry. Had loads of interviews before with people like astronauts, people who help the astronauts get to space, the people who build the rockets that get those astronauts to space, people like Jared Isaacman from the Inspiration 4 mission, Polaris Dawn. Had a few interviews with people from who've been to the International Space Station. I've also been able to meet loads of amazing people like you as well, Nick, and hopefully we'll have our interview out soon.
Well, I absolutely will look forward to that. I must admit, it should be really, really cool. So did you watch the launch today, Felix?
Yes, I was out of the house, but I was able to tune in with a bit of a dodgy Wi-Fi, but was able to tune in and see the excitement. And like Elon Musk and SpaceX says, excitement guaranteed was definitely correct.
Well, let's pretend you haven't seen it. In fact, I think we can go live. Actually, I'm just yeah, we are. We can go live now. Actually, with 3 minutes T-minus 3 minutes 36, and that is well, we're pretending it's live. This is a recap. You know, imagination can take us anywhere. Now, I've just had a hang on. I've got a call coming through here. We've got somebody in the green room on our studios. Fantastic. Our studio audience is working. I'm very pleased about this. Hang on, we've got somebody. Hang on. I think we've got an imposter here. I'm going to pull him up on the screen behind me and just see what exactly is going on here. We've got a chap here in a SpaceX shirt by the look of it. I'm a bit worried about this. Hello, sir. Who are you? And what's your you're not a spy. You're not spying, are you, by any chance?
Oh no. My name's Andrew Paris. I'm 42-year television veteran and former NASA employee.
I don't know how old you are, mate. Sorry. I don't know how old you are. 42, you know, you're showing off now, aren't you?
Oh, I'm actually 62, but I've been working in television for 42. But 13 years of that, I worked for NASA doing television back in the 80s and 90s. And now I'm just a big space fan, and I go to watch launches and help other people experience the excitement of space travel.
Fantastic. So did you see the launch? Did you see the launch today?
Yeah, I stayed up all night and got to watch the launch. I was actually helping a friend of mine with his YouTube broadcast from Isla Blanca Park, and got to watch the launch. In fact, I haven't actually seen any of the video yet because it was just too exciting to watch with my eyes. One of the things I used to, when I worked at NASA, I spent quite a few years looking through viewfinders and monitors, so I never actually got to watch a lot of the launches with my own eyes. And they tend to blend together when you're watching them through a viewfinder. And so a few years back, I just said, I'm not going to videotape them anymore. There's plenty of other people out there with higher resolution cameras than I have. And so I watch it with my eyes. And I have to tell you, the launch today was spectacular. It's the most powerful rocket in the world, and it proved it. At 397 feet and 16 million pounds of thrust, it just blows away all the competition, Saturn V and the SLS. And the sound alone, the pressure wave on your chest was immense. It was very emotional.
Well, you guys do like your stats, don't you? I know with your American football or soccer, whatever you call it over there. I mean, you're obsessed with your numbers, and you've obviously sort of memorized all the stat from today. We're at T-minus 1 minute 13, 1 minute 12. Felix, anything to say? How are you feeling at this moment earlier on when you watch this? Because I know you're busy revising for exams, aren't you, as well?
Yeah. I had it on in the background while I was doing some English revision, but yeah, I know I was very excited. I had my doubts at some points, especially when they held at T-minus 40 seconds. I knew it was planned, but it kind of felt like something might happen that might put it off. But there was a few delays. I know that there was going to be a problem with had some boats in the range, but they got all that cleared out. And yeah, I was very excited, kind of sat there just waiting for it to happen.
Hang on, we're on T-minus 39. Oh, hang on, it stopped. The clock stopped. What's T-minus 35, minus 34? Let's bring some audio up. Are they going for launch? No, hang on. What's going on here? It's gone back to 40. Hang on, Felix, tell me what's going on here, will you? What's going on here, guys?
I was going to say they had another momentary delay due to a low pressure in one of their fuel tanks. And so they had a built-in hold, like Felix said. They had a 40-second built-in hold where they could stop and recycle to and basically play catch-up. And all they had to do was get it all cut up, and then they just continued on. So it should be taking off again here shortly.
Wow. So what did you think, Felix? Did you think this is all over?
We had a rapid We've not heard anything.
A rapid
over the
recycle.
countdown as the team works both first and second stage.
This is so exciting, isn't it? It's almost like watching it live. Exciting for you, Andrew, I bet, yeah?
Yes.
Is it going to start again? Felix, what were you thinking at this time? Did you have your fingers crossed? Were you under a table or something? What were you thinking at this moment earlier?
Had my fingers crossed and had my doubts as well, but
got a little bit
of an
update.
It did take off. And,
continuing to hold at T minus 40 seconds. This is the normal hold point for Starship, as we talked earlier. Sounds like we're working just late pressurization on, I believe, the second stage. Team is working it. All the other systems are on hold right now at 40 seconds. We can hold here for about 15 minutes or so before we would run out of window for this morning.
We've had a few messages in, actually, Felix. Plastic Mug says, that's great. Paul Sidhu's putting a shout out. Hey, Felix from Tin Man. Andy Campbell's with us. Come on, guys, keep those messages coming in. We're going to be flashing them up on the screen. Keep it clean. This really is quite exciting, isn't it? Goodness me. Anything to say, Andrew, before we go?
Oh, yeah, it's just exciting watching this. I have to tell that the condensation off the vehicle today was especially eerie because it was the atmosphere was pressuring it down on the ground. It wasn't floating free, blocking view. It was staying low to the ground because of the dew point, and it was made for pretty spectacular images.
Amazing. I mean, they had a lot of cameras on it today, didn't they? Goodness me. They're getting their act together on that.
Drones all over the place.
I think they had a drone at very high altitude because when it separated, that was quite a sight.
We only have a 20-minute launch window, so don't go away.
Well, I hope they get it off. I'm a bit worried.
And
We've got... I've booked a Saturday night. It's Saturday night here in the UK, Andrew. I don't know. Oh, we're off. We're off again.
Rolling. T minus 30 seconds.
Wow. Hold tight, everybody.
T minus 15. 10. 9, 8.
Come on, guys. Fingers crossed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Wow.
So about right here, I was screaming, go, 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 go.
Were you? You remember this moment? So you could actually see something, could you, Andrew? You got a good view of it?
Oh, yeah. We're about 5 miles away, but we had a really clear view of the pad. We could see the stage 0, so we could see when it ignited. The only problem was the audio delay, the sound delay was,
because of the distance away, you mean?
Seconds. Yeah, but the shock diamonds on the thrust was amazing. Those methane engines generate those gorgeous shock diamonds.
What are your thoughts here, Felix, as we see this?
Say that again, sorry.
What were your thoughts at this moment?
Very excited, yeah. Fingers crossed, it's getting there. Kind of.
I think what's great, the pictures I've seen since, all 32 Raptor engines fired and worked, didn't they? Which gave good reason for why they didn't the last time. I guess it was debris from the blast, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of kind of concrete from the pad last time, and I think there was a fire inside of the vehicle, like an engine bay fire, which kind of took some of them out. But this time they got all those things fixed, and got all 33 working.
We've got a message here from Tin Man. He says, Felix and crew, you should have been at Boca Chica. Yes, in our dreams, Tin Man. You'd have loved watching it from there. Maybe next one. Well, if we can crash in your backyard, Tin Man, we are there. Yeah, and
you guys get over here. I'll get you down here and get you in the best viewing area.
I'll tell you what, that'd be fantastic. Well, we've got a mutual friend who might be sort of captaining one of these in the next year or so. Jared Eisenman has been very generous to both of us. Jared was very generous when Inspiration 4 mission went off and provided some funding for our work here. And I know he's been very supportive and done a lot of work with Felix, hasn't he, on your live streams, Felix, yeah?
Yeah, he's been amazing. Lots of interviews, hopefully another interview soon as well.
In fact, you had all the I think you had all the crew on there, haven't you? All the Polaris crew and Inspiration 4.
Yeah, all 4 of them. And then hopefully we'll have another one soon.
So how far are we from stage separation here, do you think?
I think we're a couple seconds, maybe.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, is it there?
Yep. Right there.
So why did they call it a hot stage separation, or what was the exact phrase?
That's hot staging. Yeah, it's the difference. Before the previous plan was to have the first stage shut down, separate away from the Starship, and then the Starship would fire its engines. And that's very complicated, and there's a lot of energy loss. So this time they added a venting ring, which would allow, while the first stage was still connected to the Starship, to fire their engines and instantaneously come off. So it maintains the energy through liftoff.
Oh, we just missed the RUD of the booster while I was chatting to you, but not to worry.
Yeah, it's okay. It was spectacular from our end. It looked like a large flower blossom, or a jellyfish, like the jellyfish they see on Falcon 9 launches and flights.
Was that the RUD you're describing, or the separation?
Yeah. The RUD, when it happened, it was spectacular. Everybody was applauding, thinking it was normal.
Right.
At first, I thought it was the boost back burn, but then I realized that wasn't no boost back burn, because there was no vehicle there after the cloud cleared. But it was pretty spectacular. That's one thing SpaceX promises. It'll be exciting no matter what happens.
You can tell what an amateur I am, saying things like RUD. Can't you? I'll never say RUD again. I'll say RUD next time, Andrea. And
yeah,
Felix,
works the same
Felix, can you remember to kick me under the table, please, next time I make a faux pas like that? You know, I'm trying to get some credibility here. I haven't got my high vis on today. So what's happening now, Felix?
Yeah, so this is just after the booster separation. So the little dot you see on the screen is Starship, with all 6 of its Raptor engines, it's Raptor sea level engines, trying to get it to orbit.
So she knows how to say RUD. So that's I'm gonna have to say RUD from now on.
Yeah.
So how long was the mission due to take, Felix? Do you know? Because it's supposed to do an orbit and then land in the sea somewhere, wasn't it? Off Hawaii, I think.
Yeah, so it was meant to be about an hour and a half, which was when splashdown was. And so it wasn't going to be orbital. It was just before orbital. So
what does orbital mean in that context?
So orbit is getting it into an orbit where it, just goes round the Earth. But this was kind of like a suborbital, because it's quite confusing. And I was listening to Tim Dodd earlier. It's kind of like a grey area, but it's not. If they'd have fired the engines for like a couple of seconds more, it would have been orbital. But no, hopefully the next test, the test once they get it to Hawaii.
So Mike, is orbital defined by the height, Mike, or the speed, or the fact you've actually done one lap, so to speak?
It's more laps. There's a minimum orbital speed you have to achieve, and like Felix was saying, if you burn just short of that, instead of going into orbit, you'll actually return to Earth, and that was the plan. So they wanted to prove the vehicle could work at orbital speed, but they were just a little shy of it, and so orbital mechanics brought it back down, and it's supposed to have belly flopped north of Hawaii.
So to recap that then, so basically it should have got a bit faster. If it had, it would have gone orbital. It therefore would have completed the mission and landed properly, but it didn't get enough speed, so therefore didn't achieve that. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not 100% sure what speed it finally achieved. I know at engine cutoff, they lost data. They lost communications with the vehicle. I have not heard anything afterwards, but that generally means during a shutdown, there may have been some event where they lost either electrical or communications, or there was a rupture in a tank or something. I haven't heard specifically, but once they shut down the engines, they got confirmation of that, and then they had no more data from it. So it's hard to tell what's going on. But they do have SpaceX does a lot of telemetry. I'm sure they have the working idea already, and they're working on what the cause was, and of course they'll implement it in a matter of days, if not just a week or two, and they should be able to fly again. I would be willing to guess that within 60 days we get another launch.
Really? So they've got Starships racked up ready to go, have they? Boosters and everything. I know they've got a few Starships there.
I was I was driving by Starbase yesterday, and I was kind of driving real slow, kind of looking in the high bays, and I counted three starships that I could see, and out in the rocket garden, I believe there's 2 ready to go.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So Felix, what's going on now, Felix? We're 7 minutes in. It's gone a bit. Why is it all gone a bit oranged? Any idea?
I think the orange is just from the camera, but so what's happening now is Starship is trying to get into space, kind of into that kind of partial orbit. I think this is where we kind of start to see Starship kind of not get to space. I think we'll hear from one of the commentators in a bit about what happened.
So I seem to remember it cut to the control room, didn't it?
Yeah. If you watch in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see telemetry, the speed and altitude, and it'll freeze all of a sudden. In fact,
Actually, it has. It has, I think. Yeah.
And that's real. That's actual real-time data from the vehicle, and it's really reliable.
It's interesting because Virgin Galactic did a launch the other week and they didn't live stream any of it. I mean, what are your thoughts around the fact that SpaceX are so open with this, streaming it, sharing it? You know, it's a phenomenal thing, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's unlike anything else. In fact, I was waxing poetically out at Starbase day before yesterday with people I was meeting there about how this kind of access is just unheard of. If we had this kind of access to like the Apollo program, if you had been able to drive up and watch them building a rocket or testing a rocket, or even the shuttle too, the world would be a much different place. You'd have a lot more space fans or space positive people, and I think we'd be farther along in our efforts to explore the solar system. But hats off to SpaceX. Part of it was kind of forced on them by the fact the location they got had that public road out to a public beach, so they've had to work around all that. But they've been very understanding, and they have a job to do, and as supporters of them, the public needs to be respectful of it, and people do. There's a large community out there that basically is there to help support SpaceX, and it's kind of a thank you for letting us have that kind of access. I mean, not just public access, but you see all the YouTubers like NASA Spaceflight and Rocket Future and all the others that are just doing nothing but streaming the video from Starbase on a daily basis. It's amazing.
Well, they're building a lot of positive public opinion by doing that as well, aren't they? Getting people on side, I guess.
Yeah.
So it looks like we've got an interesting little scene now. I must admit, I thought the guy with the cowboy hat and the sweat top was Elon Musk, but it looks like Elon Musk's actually the other side. I think this is possibly his brother, isn't it?
It may be. I didn't see him.
It looks like Elon Musk took the kids to work today. Just another boring day at work with Dad, huh? During the holidays.
Oh man, some days I wish I was one of his kids. Some days.
Yeah, just some days, I think, probably. So it's saying awaiting acquisition of signal. Is that a live feed from the Starship saying that we haven't got data? Basically, that's incredible, isn't it?
Actually, that is actually what I call a placeholder. That's a graphic that they put up, and then when the signal, when they actually do acquire the signal, that placeholder card would drop and you'd see the video. And when you're seeing that, it's basically to see you don't see static or nothing. And it's a pretty automatic thing. It's a pretty normal thing in the broadcast world. But it allows you to see the video much faster instead of having somebody to push the button. And unfortunately, that comes up, and then you sit it for too long, a couple minutes, they're not going to see anything.
Right, so that's not live from the Starship. It's just a signal into their video software throwing a graphic up. Let's have an update, see what's going on.
Desk, we have lost the data from the second stage. We had heard a call out that we were internal guidance, which means we were getting near the end of the approximately 6-minute burn of Starship, but we haven't gotten any more data since then. So we think we may have lost the second stage. So we would not be into coast phase. We wouldn't be able to come back in an hour or so and possibly get ready for reentry. However, what we do know right now is we had an on-time launch at 7 o'clock. We got through the boats. First stage looked beautiful with 33 Raptor engines firing. We got the hot staging, the thing that we really wanted to see and impressed. We saw the separation. We saw the flip maneuver. We saw the light up of the 6 Raptor engines on Starship, and it headed away. Everything really looked good. But what we do believe right now is that the automated flight termination system on second stage appears to have triggered very late in the burn as we were headed downrange out over the Gulf of Mexico. But the real topping on the cake today, that successful liftoff, Kate, Shiva, the hot staging is just beautiful. Exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, ultimately, honestly, such an incredibly successful day. Even though we did have a RUD, or a rapid unscheduled disassembly, of both the Super Heavy booster and the ship, that's great. We got so much data, and that will all help us to improve for our next flight.
Of course, and that's why we flight test, and you can bet that there's going to be more to come. So we really do want to thank you all for joining us. Of course, we want to thank the people of Cameron County. We want to thank all the federal agencies that have supported us for our test. And of course, a huge congratulations to the entire SpaceX team on getting through this flight test today. And I think with that, we're going to sign off from here in Hawthorne.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Wow. So that's the first time I've heard the reference to the automated flight termination system being responsible for the Starship loss of signal. That would explain a lot. If the FTS went off, there'd be no more vehicle.
Absolutely. Here's the launch again, just a quick clip of it. Wow.
Something I got to tell people, the launch was amazing just with the naked eye. The cameras just cannot reproduce the image well enough. The flame is so bright. It's beyond brighter than the sun. And the sound waves, once you finally get it to you, are actual deep, so deep and bassy, you can feel it pressing against your chest and against your arms. It was 16 million pounds of thrust, and it was amazing.
And you could feel it on the ground, could you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we had the 30-second or minute delay because of our distance, but once it hit, it was crackle, 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 crackle. But it was a very deep, bassy thing, and it's very tactile, and it's hard to explain to people until they feel it themselves. Rocket launches, in my book, are near religious experiences. You get to see a man-made object flying into the heavens, and it's kind of everybody's hopes and dreams go with it too. And it's even more intense when there's people on board.
Amazing. No, it's fantastic to have your contribution actually having been there, and I think you bring a detail and authenticity. You know, we watched it. What are your thoughts in summary there, Felix? Looking back at that.
Yeah, I'd like your opinion on this in a sec as well, Andrew. In my opinion, I think that the launch went really, really well. They got they got past hot staging, which is what they wanted, and I think we've seen pictures of the pad already. I know last time there was, a massive hole from where, all the concrete was blasted out. But, we've seen pictures already of what the pad looks like, and it looks pristine, like, a rocket hasn't been there, just, a few marks, maybe a repaint here and there. But I think we should, like Andrew said, another launch within, 60 days, about two months or so, maybe early January. We could see another launch as long as the FAA has to conduct an investigation. They can't just blow up a rocket and not have someone investigate it. So I think once that investigation is done, I think we could see a launch within 2 months or so. What do you think about that, Andrew?
Oh, absolutely. The FAA component of course will be very important, but I think the NASA is so thorough, SpaceX is so thorough, sorry about that, is so thorough with what they do, and the FAA has become familiar with it, and I don't want to say comfortable, but they have a very good working relationship, and so they can get through the process of discovering the problem, proposing the corrections, and implementing them. And like I said, SpaceX is so good at test and iterate, that they can make whatever changes they need. The engineers will come up with the design, they'll build it, and they'll install it, and it'll be ready to go.
Fantastic. I'm just going to see if we've got any. Oh, we've got a very, very special guest here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We have got a world legend here. You're not going to believe this, Andrew. We've got a very special guest just joining us here. Only Homer Hickam, author of Rocket Boys. Andrew, are you familiar with this? This is just amazing.
Absolutely. I'm a
what a legend.
Fan.
Oh my goodness. Homer always makes my day when he rocks up. Homer, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm fine. Nick, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you good. Can you see us and hear us okay?
I can.
We're up to our usual antics. Just in case you're worried where you are and what sort of credibility is going to be blown tonight, you're on a cardboard oil rig. We call it our sea monster. It's an art rig because art is the oil of the creativity revolution. And if you here you go. If you have a little wave there, you can sort of wave to everybody back home because you are live and direct on a cardboard oil rig at Boca Chica. That's a first for you, isn't it?
I love that, Nick.
Homer Hickam, did you catch the launch earlier?
I did. I got up and watched it go. And, interestingly, I have a house down in St. John, U.S. Virgin Islands. And my property manager reported a huge boom and a lot of thunder. And people on the island reported what looked to be a meteor coming in. So I think the second stage of Starship almost hit my driveway. Fortunately, my car was in the garage.
Were there reports of debris there?
I think it probably came down north of St. Thomas, which is the neighboring island, and the water is really deep there. But if anybody at SpaceX wants to come down and look for it, they can use my house.
Amazing. Well, we've got a little bit of a crowd here today. We're having a little bit of a party. We've got a chap called Andrew, who's down there in Boca Chica, actually, live and direct, Homer. And we've got a young man here. I've wanted to introduce you to this young chap for a long time. This is Felix, who runs a YouTube channel called Felix in Spacetime. Felix, say hello to Homer and tell him a bit about yourself.
Hi, Homer. Nice to finally meet you. Nick talks very highly of you. My name's Felix. I do interviews on YouTube. I've done an interview with Nick as well. That should be out soon. It's an honor to be able to talk to you. And thank you so much for joining me and Nick here for kind of our recap live stream.
Well, that's fantastic, Felix. It's great to meet you as well. I keep threatening to come over to the UK and drive around with Nick, and maybe I'll get to see you sometime.
I'll tell you what, Homer, I don't know if you remember, I had the best trip the last couple of weeks. I had a little road trip down to South Wales where I bought a book, which was, I think I mentioned to you actually, George Orwell's 1984, which had been produced from 6,000 copies of the Da Vinci Code, which I'm going to try and sell or stick on eBay to raise some money for our cause. But on the way back from that, because you can laugh, Andrew. Excuse me, I'm going to cut you off if you keep laughing. This is a serious show.
I'm laughing too. That's a great idea.
Hey, so Andrew, let me tell you.
That's a great use for the Da Vinci Code, by the way.
Well, absolutely. Well, don't get all literally snobby on me, Homer. I know what you're like. But Andrew, I just need to tell you very quickly, Andrew, my father was 83. He found a book in a charity bookshop he volunteered in, and he gave it to me, and he said it's the best book he's ever read, and it was Rocket Boys by Homer. And he said, I've emailed the author, but he hasn't got back to me. I said, well, good luck with that, because he's sold 6 million copies of the book, and he's probably a bit busy with pen letters. Anyway, I had a glass of red wine one night, got on Twitter, connected with Homer, and he's given me permission and our charity Steamco to take that story into schools across the country. We've taken it to hundreds of schools. We make rockets, we do creative activities, coding, whatever it is. It's not, we use rockets as a metaphor to inspire kids to aim high, not just to go into space and rocket stuff. Felix is an engineer. He's doing engineering at college. He's passionate about this, but not every kid wants to do that. We've got to help every child find their passion in life. That's our mission. And Homer's generosity, that book. So the long and the short of it, this copy of 1984, they sold 250 copies in 2 hours for £500, $750 a copy. They took 125,000. This is an artwork. This wasn't a book. It was conceptual art. And I actually had to Google what conceptual art means. And conceptual art is basically where the artwork is, the idea is more important than the execution. And let's face it, most pictures are just paint on a piece of paper. Some are worth nothing, some are worth millions. And so I've created a conceptual artwork, and it's a bundle. And basically, it's Homer's book, Rocket Boys, that my dad found in that Oxfam bookshop, bundled with a copy of the Da Vinci Code, mashed up and turned into 1984, which I actually think is fairly appropriate in this day and age, because I think we're sort of on the dangerous edge of a dystopian future, which I think a lot of us are probably wary and worried about. And so I'm actually going to put it on eBay with a buy now price. You can get your credit cards out now, Andrew, if you like. A buy now price of £125,000, because that's what I need to jumpstart and start scaling my work. We need £250,000 to get 3 people like me on the road, fully funded, to go to schools to do what I do in schools across the country. And so if you know anybody who wants to buy a piece of art and help jumpstart a creativity revolution, then send them my way, basically. But Home has been incredibly generous. The day after that, I actually went up to a coal mining museum in South Wales, and was humbled to go underground and to see the conditions those men, those women, those children worked in. It really is quite incredible. And then I went to Yorkshire, where they've got another one, actually. So South Wales is a big mining community, and they have their own mining museum. Yorkshire is another one. And I was absolutely blown away, actually, because when I'm in schools talking to the children, I often talk about how little boys and girls aged 4 used to go into coal mines working. And their job was to sit in the dark and open and close a door while the older boys pushed a coal truck through. And I tell kids this story, and I often actually get them out of the audience and sort of get them to sort of imagine what it might be like. And I probably have to be a little bit careful doing this, actually, because, you know, it's pretty traumatic. And I was traumatized because I went down that pit and I had a waxworks dummy of a 4-year-old child. And that child was actually chained to the door so they couldn't run off in the dark. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day at the age of 4. I mean, I think we must never forget these kids, and we must never forget the sacrifices that people like Homer's family and people like that have made over the years to fuel the industrial revolution, if you like, I think we probably just take for granted now so many times, you know. So, so Rocket Boys, I mean, I can't thank Homer enough for his generosity. Felix, you got any questions?
I'm glad you Nick, I'm glad you got to make that tour and see those conditions down in those mines. A lot of those miners ultimately moved across the Atlantic and worked in around the same mines that my dad, my granddad, my great-granddad did as well. So we're all very connected in the mining industry, just as we are now in the space and rocket industry. There's you, the folks down at Boca Chica, the Cape, all over, and we are a connected family. And nobody is chaining us to doors. We love what we're doing now.
Well, and I think one of the things, I mean, you went down the pit quite a few times with your father, I know, and you know, over the years that job didn't change much, did it really? I mean, it was still pretty hardcore, hard work, antisocial. I mean,
yeah. Well, fortunately, we did have, of course, laws that kept very young people from going in the mine after a while. But the reason, by the way, that they chained them to the doors is those doors were for ventilation.
Yep.
And if the young man walked away and went to sleep or did something else, then possibly the other miners could die. So it was very cruel, awful, and all that.
But it was a critical role, wasn't it?
Absolutely critical role, and they probably recognized that as well. I'm sure the chain was superfluous. They knew better. But anyway, I'm glad that those days are past, and we don't have that kind of thing going on, at least not in the UK and not in the USA. Maybe somewhere else they're still doing it that way, but
absolutely,
we grew up. Yeah.
So back to today, Homer. What are your thoughts about what Elon Musk and SpaceX achieved? I remember the very first time, actually, I saw one of the early Starship tests, and I was baffled and bemused. And you said, "Oh yeah, those guys, they're crazy. They fail fast. They move on." I mean, what are your thoughts about what we've seen today? Should we be disappointed? Did they achieve much?
Well, I'm not disappointed at all. What I saw was all 33 engines were lit, and as far as I could tell, none of them went out on the way up. That by itself is a huge achievement, even if they had just put a dummy second stage on. So they made huge progress with that first stage today. The second stage, the hot fire that they had, that clearly worked. It was right after that they ran into some problems, and it may have just been a software problem. We just don't know quite yet. But just seeing all 33 of the Raptor engines working perfectly, those round, hot, white dots underneath the Starship. I was just happy as could be. And then to see them actually on cue cut down in a synchronized way, that was wonderful. So first stage is good, looks like. Of course, got to figure out how to bring it back and land it. That's to come. But the first stage is good. Second stage, we'll have to see what went wrong there. But anyway, no, I thought today was quite successful.
Absolutely. Hey, Felix, got any quick questions for Homer before we let him go? He's a busy man.
I'd love to have you on for an interview on my channel, if that's a question.
Hey, don't be cheeky.
Well, work something out, Felix.
Yeah, you have to go through his agent. He's a top celebrity, Felix. You got to be very careful asking. If you don't, well, let's face it.
Agent is named Nick.
Yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's the Rocket Boys and 1984 on the screen there. If I may, actually, would you indulge me? I'd just like to show you a little moment, actually, of what happened last week, because I actually built Sea Monster in a school in Sunderland, which is a former mining community. I'd just like to drop this on you, if you could just bear with me on this. So here we are, flying our Starship up to Sunderland. Homer knows the secret. Our Starship is really a...
What if? Let's start a creativity revolution.
Our Starship is really an RV, but hey. On a mission because I want to inspire a creativity revolution to help our kids aim not just high, but higher than my high vis with their creativity.
Now, a man on a mission to inspire children to aim higher has been speaking to youngsters about rocket science in Sunderland. Nick Corston runs a community enterprise to champion creativity. He's fundraising and wants more people to take on his role.
People say I'm a man on a mission because I want to inspire a creativity revolution to help our kids aim not just high, but higher than my high vis with their creativity.
Touring schools, Nick Corston talks on a whole range of topics such as the environment, computer coding and rocket science. What is it you're making?
I'm making the fins of a rocket.
How hard is rocket science?
Very hard, but if you work as a team, it's way easier.
Ding ding! Oh, open the door.
He started Steam Cope and travels around the country. Now he wants more people to take on his role.
I'm trying to raise £1 million to inspire 1 million kids by getting 23 of our little pop-up Creativity Day art trucks on the road that contain everything you need to run a Creativity Day like this in a primary school or in a community at a fete or a festival. I believe that there are people out there who can do my job better than me, as well as me, whatever. And I need to find 23 people to do my job. I'd like to think that a child that sat through my assembly today goes home tonight and sits down on their computer, not to play a game, not to just browse through stuff, but to go and look into a bit more information about something we talked about. One fire! Whoa!
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds. Don't you know?
One day, one of those children from Sunderland will have an idea that will change the world.
And it's all your fault, Homer Hickam. If I hadn't found that book, I don't know what I'd be doing there.
Well, Nick, I am always impressed with your enthusiasm and your energy and your dedication to these young people. So please keep it up. Please keep going. We love you for what you do.
And I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much, Homer. You've been a legend. You've been a rock, and you're our sort of patron in waiting for the Rocket Kids Club when we actually get our act together on that. But thank you so much for joining us today. And I know where you live, so thank you very much. You're an absolute legend. And I hope you didn't get too much debris in your backyard. That would be disappointing, wouldn't it?
Well, I wish it would land in a place where I could dive down to it, and we'll see. I'll check around with some of the dive shops and see if we can find that thing.
It's a pretty scary business, isn't it? It did occur to me, actually, even Elon Musk must think, do you know what? We do need to be careful where this stuff lands, these boosters and starships over mainlands and stuff.
Well, they did. And that's pretty far out in the ocean. Just happens to be a few little islands spotted around there. and mine was one of them. But we love Elon. We love the work he does. And he's going to carry us to the moon and to Mars and beyond.
And we love you, Homer. Thank you very much. I'll catch you again. Thanks now. Bye-bye now.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye.
Cheers now. Bye-bye. What a legend, eh? He's probably going to click off there. There you go. So, yeah. So what do you think of that then, Andrew? We pull the celebrities in, don't we?
I'm almost speechless. So Homer's a hero of mine when I was a kid growing up, reading his book and sharing it with others in the world. He's a real inspiration. I'm very touched that I was even in the same chat with him.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm always delighted when I see him on the screen because it actually means that my technology's worked, which is quite good. But you know, he's such a generous man. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not being funny. My dad has read a lot of books in his time. When my dad says it's the best book he's read, he's not just talking about the story. He's talking about the prose. He's talking about the research, the authenticity, every single aspect of that. You know, and it's a great story. Have you read that yet? Have you read that yet, Felix? Or have you been too busy on your engineering degree?
I've been quite busy, but I'll have to. That's definitely on my reading list.
I'll tell you what. I've sent you a green screen. I'll send you a copy of the book. How about that? To thank you for supporting us today.
That'll be amazing. Thank you so much.
That's the trouble when I get your address. When I get your address in Amazon, there's no getting away from it, I'm afraid. You're a marked man now. So, Felix, did you want to add anything else? Any other comments before we let Mike get back to you? There's a whole load of sun loungers behind him. He's living the dream there in Boca Chica. I tell you, well, they are behind a big fence.
My final kind of thing is just I can't wait to see the third launch. Hopefully, we get to hopefully SpaceX gets Starship a nice holiday in Hawaii and splash down off the coast. But I think the progress we've seen today is we've seen massive progress. You know, just getting it off the launch pad and that hot stage separation, that was, you know, the successful part. But, you know, they went on, they nearly got Starship into its suborbital orbit. But I'm sure next time they'll get Starship to Hawaii.
Brilliant. I'm going to actually do something rather silly in a minute. So, Andrew, why don't you give us a little? Would you like to see behind the scenes that on our Sea Monster, Andrew?
Sure, I would love to see behind the scenes.
So I tell you what, I'm going to plug a couple of things in. So keep talking amongst yourself. Tell us some thoughts about what might happen, what they might improve, how next flight might go. You're the NASA guy. You're used to sort of. You must be used to talking. Go for it.
Yeah.
Give me 2 minutes.
Like Homer was saying that SpaceX has a lot of data. And they're smart people. They'll figure out what went wrong. They'll figure out the correction, get it and get it implemented. Work with the FAA and get the next launch because, like I said, they have quite a few boosters and starships lining up, and they're replacing all the temporary tents for manufacturing with complete buildings now. So the build facility is growing quite rapidly. It never has stopped building. That's the thing about that area. Not only are they iterating design, but they're iterating their methodology and their process almost on a daily basis. Plus, there's another. We have confirmation that they're going to build another launch tower. We've been watching parts being brought on site. In fact, I was out at the launch facility yesterday, and a guy tried to deliver some parts for the new launch tower, and they said, "No, you got to go back over here. This is the active one. You need to go where they're not." Yeah, so I dread having the job of the guy coordinating all the deliveries there at Starbase. It's a massive undertaking.
Wow, no, I mean it must be pretty full on. So here's the reality then. So you won't be surprised. You say you work in broadcast, did you?
Yes.
So you won't be surprised to know that obviously I'm in front of a green screen. You won't be surprised to know that. Yeah. But the reality of my little hovel is this.
That's still very impressive. I mean, the technology today for programs like this is very impressive. I wish I could get this kind of compact stuff into my shows. I do a show that has, believe it or not, 96 cameras on a daily basis.
Wow.
And it is a mess that I'm constantly worried that I'll forget where things go. I try to document it all, but it's so hard when you're dealing with 96 cameras and 140 record trains, which you're like, why would you want to record more signals than you have? But that's what the client requests, so that's what we give them.
Wow. So is that's high-end broadcast stuff, is it?
Absolutely.
Wow, amazing. Well, there you go. You saw behind the scenes here. I'm not ashamed of it. In fact, this has actually gone remarkably well by my standards, actually, because I had a complete meltdown of my my little Stream Deck here. You're familiar with these little things. That will not talk to the software. So I've had to do the whole thing without a Stream Deck. So I've had to actually click on these things here. Obviously, this MIDI control interface has been working. I've usually got two screens, but they actually got water in them because they were in my camper van, and I had a leak, so they both got ruined. So I've had to double up with a portable screen here that I'm screen grabbing the zoom off. I've got a couple of oh goodness me, you just got to go with it though, haven't you? You know, we aim high, you know. But I think, as I say, I'm pleased it's worked tonight. Actually, I really am.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the true test of a great engineer, is dealing with all the failures. In fact, part of my job when everything's set up and the show starts, essentially I'm a fireman. I just sit there and wait to put out fires. And the true test is how you deal with the fires.
Well, you mentioned age. I'm not far behind you, but one of the things that really kills me is when you really are under it and something doesn't work. There are times when you feel like a rabbit in the headlights. Do you know that feeling when you
Absolutely.
Especially
most of my career has been like that.
I don't know how you do it. I feel permanently stressed at the moment, and I've actually virtually sobbed one night when I actually had a power outage and it took everything down and I couldn't bring it back up. It just everything, Windows blue screens, the whole lot.
I do have quite a few gray hairs. Some of them are my kids, but not all of them.
Well, fair play. I mean, we do our best, don't we? No, fantastic. So thank you both for joining us tonight. Felix, you've been absolutely fantastic. It's really been a pleasure. I've actually just had a little clip. Actually, I'm going to ping this little clip. Actually, I had a fantastic clip from the Everyday Astronaut guy. Actually, he posted this. Actually, let's see if we can get that up on the screen. Where's my? So he got very excited. We'll get some audio on that and play that out.
It's lighting. It's lighting. Oh my god! Oh my god! Get off his head! Get off his head!
There you go. His 4K video wasn't wasted, was it?
No, look how beautiful that looks this time.
That's, honest to God, the reaction videos are the most exciting part of doing this.
I think
people's reaction to the launch.
I think they almost forgot where they were, didn't they? And who was there? They just so. Yeah. Is that where he lives? Does he live there? Do you know, Felix, or does he rent an apartment?
He has a condo there facing the Starbase from the Laguna Vista side. It's a part of on the mainland, and it's got a really good view. It gives them a direct view off a balcony, and they can use some long-range optics cameras and so forth. But like I said, whenever there's a launch, this is my favorite view, is seeing people's reactions.
I just can't believe it. Felix, did you interview, who is this guy? It's Tim, isn't it? Is it Tim?
Tim Dodd, yeah.
Yes, Tim Dodd. This is his, the bit we talk about the camera view, that's his studio. So that's where he has all his live streams when he does stuff from Starbase. I think it's called, the acronym for the studio is called Mars. I'm not quite sure what it stands for, but it's his studio over in Texas, where he does all his live streams for Starbase and gets all his amazing, definitely after this live stream, take a look at his Twitter and stuff over the next few days. And he has these amazing slow-mo 4K videos of the launch, and they're truly amazing.
Well, it doesn't look like a bad condo, but I'd much rather be on a cardboard RC monster, wouldn't you, Andrew?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Tim not only has that studio there, he also has a mobile van where he can go around the country and show launches and other activities. He calls that one, I believe is it Eve? I think it's called Eve. There's an acronym for that.
I've got one.
I watched him when he built it and so forth. And that's something you could add to you could actually add that to your vehicle.
Well, I've got a studio in the back. The whole back. Oh God, and Starlink and a generator. This is actually it breaking down, believe it or not. I was going to a festival and it broke down. The clutch went, and I was due to go to the BBC to do a live interview, so I did it on the phone.
Nick, he's a force of nature, isn't he?
Absolutely.
He makes me energized and exhausted at the same time just listening to him.
First thing in the morning as well. That's what you need, a bit of Nick.
Yes, that's right. Oh.
What a guy.
Yeah, do you think he ever has a sort of moment where he just goes, oh, I'm just going to sit and watch the telly? I bet he doesn't.
And then he's like a Duracell bunny for the rest of the week.
Absolutely.
Julie Scantlebury.
I had the brainwave actually of not getting towed home, but actually got towed to the festival. So I actually did make it to the festival. And
you're not the first person that had to have their truck towed to a show.
Well, the show was 8 miles from where I broke down, but I was 250 miles from home. So I had one recovery credit, and I decided to actually use it, getting the long journey. And I paid $100 to get this journey done. But this is one of the best films I've ever done. Just utterly brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
show must go on.
You be careful what you wish for when you come on my live streams, mate, I'll tell you. So there we are. I think we better call it a day there. Thank you very much for joining us, Andrew. You've been absolutely wonderful. It's been great to meet you.
It's been a wonderful pleasure and a surprise meeting, getting to be on the same screen with Homer Hicks. I can't say it's a dream come true because I didn't think I could dream that big.
Well, that's very special. I know that will mean a lot to him, and I know it meant a lot to Felix as well. Felix, what are your last thoughts?
It was amazing. Yeah, thank you, Nick, for setting up the live stream. Love being on the cardboard model, and I know you've put in some really hard work to get this done. So thank you, and Andrew, thank you so much for popping on. I know you've had a really busy day. I'm sure you're going to have a very busy time, seeing Starship. So thank you for taking some time out of your day and coming to talk to us about it.
That's been absolutely great.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Just before we go, I've taken my eye off the ball because I'm juggling so much. We've had some lovely comments here. Ed Davis talked about orbital speed, but not a complete orbit. So sorry to miss that. Tin Man was very pleased to see Homer Hickam. Awesome and welcome. And he's talking about Luna is the media van. That's Tim's media van, I think, and Tim Dodd's van. So nice little shout out. Thanks for your contributions there, Tim. That Tin Man, that does mean a lot. And Ed, I think we're going to get a lot of views of this in the next few weeks coming up because I think it's been a lovely little session actually. So thank you both very much. I really do appreciate your contribution. Andrew, thank you for joining us live and direct from Boca Chica. And Felix, you are an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to kids, young people across the UK, across the world. Thank you for being part of this tonight, and thank everybody for joining us at home. I just can't thank you all enough. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all again very soon. Cheers.
With a mountain man, but the mommy is down below, and the daddy is chosen to go. But her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through a sunken dream to the seats with the clearest view. Then she's hooked to the silver screen. Still I want more.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Really very, very special. And I'm just going to play out now with a film that was supercharged our summer, a collaboration we did with the McLaren F1 team. I have to pinch myself every time I play this. I think Andrew's still in the green room watching this on the big screen, tucking into our buffet and our free sodas. Enjoy this. Thank you all. If anybody can spare a quid to help me inspire a million kids, hashtag #R1,000,023. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited! Who's excited?
One of our sponsors are once again doing the unexpected. Something that defies the norm. Smartsheet are removing their logos for the British Grand Prix and replacing them with a non-profit, SteamCo, because they believe in powering work that matters.
Hi, I'm Nick Corston, co-founder of SteamCo. SteamCo STEAMCO exists to help inspire our kids to aim higher than high, powered by creativity and community. At the heart of what we do are STEAMCO days, where the community comes in, working with the children to inspire them. Who would like to meet Professor Brian Cox? We have these little pop-up creativity day art trucks that contain everything you need to run a creativity day. We've got rocket making kits, we've got coding kits, we've got cardboard modelling kits. There's something that everybody can do on a STEAMCO day. And at the end of the day, it takes a whole village to inspire a child. I believe our work's important because creativity is important. And it's been squeezed out of many state schools. Creativity can inspire kids in their learning, it can connect communities, and it can power the economy. One of the key things we teach kids is not to fear failure, to be prepared to have a go, so that they thrive and not just survive in this brave new world that they're about to enter.
Right, now tighten up. Want a bit more? Yeah. You got potential, I can see it.
I travel all over the UK, from Land's End to John O'Groats, and the Starship comes in handy, I must admit, because it's my office on 4 wheels. So when I rock up at a school playground in the car park, I love to say to the kids, what do you think of my Starship? Adults see an old camper van, but it's our Starship really, isn't it? I'm hoping that the future of STEAMCO is bright, and what I want to do is get 3 trucks on the road initially, 3 crazy people like me, across England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. One day maybe the world, maybe the universe. When Smartsheet said they wanted to support STEAMCO in this way, I was just blown away. This was the opportunity we really needed to raise our profile, to raise awareness. But more to the point, I realised that somebody else shared the dream. They could see the method in my madness. It was that validation. Who wants to join me on a creativity revolution? Fantastic. I have to pinch myself that my life has come to a place where this is what I do. When this takes off, hopes, dreams take off with it. The difference that you make to those kids, to those communities, is profound. It really is. I'm living a life with purpose, and I'm grateful for that opportunity.
At McLaren F1, we're thrilled to be racing with STEAMCO on our cars in the UK. This is Sponsor X.